Let's see if I can write with this thing here on top. Hello, vovó. Uma vovó pelo mundo? Keila. Hello, hi, Will. Advent. Live. Day 10. Chunking. Let's see. Chunking. Yes. I managed to spell it correctly, I think. Right, so hello everybody, welcome to the live stream, to today's live stream. So, let's see who's here. Will, Vive Anchieta, hello, how are you? Jennifer, Jacqueline, how are you? Hello, vovó. Hey, yes. Omar is here, Everton is here too. Edu, hello Edu. Hi Marcos, Lucas. Oops. Ju Amorim. Silverati is here too. Hello. Right, so Silverati wants to talk. Let's talk. Eliane. Fly Braga, Edu, João, hello everybody. Hello Lily, how are you today? How was your day today? Hello Josie. How are you? I haven't seen your message yet. Okay, I'll take a look afterwards. Fernando, Marco, good evening everyone. Rafael, Tagres Sonvik, hello. What's up? I'm doing fine. I'm doing great. Thank you. What about you? I'm doing well. So, before we talk, so someone has asked, I don't know if it's by mistake. Thiago, you're here. But before we talk, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the topic today. Today's live stream is chunking. I don't know if you have heard this word, chunking. The verb is to chunk. So chunk is pedaço or grupo, or yes, when you get individual elements and you put them together, you group them, you have a chunk. So how is this related to language learning? I don't know. Lily, I'm fine. I haven't finished yet. I'm still here. Hello, Sid, Paula. Yes, so chunking is a technique for improving memory. Okay? When we're learning a language or anything else for that matter, it's important to remember stuff. Remember the knowledge you have just acquired. Otherwise, you will forget. This is a very common complaint, right? The students sometimes say, oh, I can't remember the words, I forget them, oh my God. There are certain days when we are tired, we tend, of course, to forget words more, right? But let's suppose we are all rested, and how can you keep these words in here? Keep them here and remember them, especially when you want to use them, right? When you want to speak, when you want to write, how can you remember? So this is one technique, okay, to help you remember words, chunking. So like I said, when we chunk words, in the case of a language, we get individual pieces of information and we form larger units with it. Okay, we have many small groups and we make a large group with it. When we group these individual pieces, we improve the amount of information we remember. Of course, if you have this amount of information in your head, it's one thing. If you want to add more information, you start to make connections between these pieces, right? And then you get a bigger piece of information. And that's the idea. We kind of, it's like a Lego, you know, those Lego bricks. You put one together with the other, you acquire new knowledge, and you have to connect this new knowledge with the knowledge that is already here. This is a very good way to remember stuff. Okay, so it's not in your head, it's not just a lot of information that have nothing to do with anything. It's not like that. To be able to remember more, you should be able to make connections. Okay? The importance of these large connections is that things get easier to remember. It becomes easier for you to remember information because our short-term memory is very, very limited, and we have very small pieces of information in our short-term memory. Okay? You want to remember more. So that's it. It's as simple as that. Start making connections. When we chunk, when we combine smaller bits of information, we get more meaningful pieces of information. And therefore, if information is meaningful, it means you will remember it more. It will become more memorable. This is very important. Okay, so this tip, meaningful, something that is meaningful to you, it has meaning to you, tends to be more memorable. You tend to remember more. So this is itself a tip. This is a tip in itself. Try to make things that you learn meaningful to you. It has to make sense in your life. Okay, and then it will be easier to remember. We have another interesting thing is that our brains have this natural tendency to see patterns everywhere. You don't have to make an effort. Without making any effort, our brains are always trying to see patterns everywhere. This is one thing. And also, it is also trying to make connections. It's kind of, you don't really have to make an effort. If you make deliberate effort, you will, of course, make your learning process more efficient, right? But our brains are already on this mode, trying to see patterns and connect things. We are doing this all the time, all the time. I think what is important here is to try to control this, to be in control of this process. Because many times our brains are doing their stuff without control, and we kind of can get in trouble with it sometimes. But if you know that this happens, and if you can, make an effort to profit from this, then you will become unstoppable and remember anything you want. Okay? So, some exercises to practice chunking. Let's take, for example, a list of words. So, many of us teachers and language learners, we advise people not to learn words without a context. This is a very good tip. Try to always learn words in a context. But let's take a list of words. For example, a list of colors in English, or jobs, or health problems, anything like that. You want to remember those words, right? So there are many ways you can do that. You can try to find the patterns. You can try to group these words, for example, based on their first letters. All the colors that start with the letter A, I don't know, or the jobs that start with the letter A, or words that have the same number of letters. For example, words with 4 letters, 5 letters, 6 letters. You can also try to find like the purpose of that word, if words share the same purpose. You know, it's kind of infinite the way you can group words, because we're always automatically trying to see patterns. So use that in your favor. Try to identify the patterns, group them, and it will become easier for you to remember the words. What do the items, what do the words have in common? Okay? Try to also associate these words somehow. Some people, they say it's a good idea to associate it with something in your life, of course, to make it more meaningful, and then it will therefore become more memorable. You can also create ideas, but for example, back to the idea that you're connecting a new piece of information to an old piece of information that is already in your head, right? So for example, you know that around this time, your grandmother, your mother, they like to bake. They bake, I don't know, special cakes or bread or something. And you see them doing that, and you see the ingredients they're using, right? So this might help you remember the ingredients in English. You might be more likely to remember certain ingredients if you connect them to something you have already experienced. Like that, observing someone cooking using these ingredients. So you can connect the image that is already in your head with that new piece of information. Try to do that exercise. See if it makes sense. In the beginning, it might seem a little, I don't know, you need to make a lot of effort, but this is something that if you practice very often, it will become second nature, it will become natural, and then it will become something great. This is something that I am telling you, but I am also trying to do, okay? All these things I tell you is something that I try to apply in my language learning process too. I actually kind of do that with words because I'm in the beginning of my Polish process. So I try to learn the words, but now I'm trying to find a way to remember these bigger chunks. And I'm trying to apply this to my practice too, okay? Try to incorporate other memory strategies, okay? You might want to use mnemonics. I think we have talked about it, right? Mnemonics is when you, for example, you have a list of ingredients you need to buy at the supermarket. You get the first letters of the word and you try to make a word out of it or a sentence or something. So an example here is you want to buy bananas, eggs, nectarines, and tea. If you get the first letters of these words, bananas, B, eggs, E, nectarines, N, and tea, you have bent. Bent. If you remember this word bent, when you're going to the supermarket, you will remember. Oh, so B is for bananas, E is for eggs, N is for nectarines, T is for tea, right? So this is a keyword. If you remember the keyword, you remember the other words. You know that I remember, I think I did that when I was in school. I was in junior high school, and my teacher was, she was teaching us the planets, right? Here in Brazil, so it was in Portuguese, and I remember that she said something like that. Minha velha, traga meu jantar, sopa, uva, noz e pão. Minha velha, minha, Mars, velha, Venus. Minha velha, traga, Earth, meu, Mercury, jantar, Jupiter, sopa, Saturn, uva, Uranus, Uranus, nós, Neptune, e pão, Pluto. I remember The sequence of planets today, because of that sentence. Minha velha, traga meu jantar, sopa, uva, noz e pão. It's been like more than 30 years, and I remember the sequence because of that sentence. So we learned many of these things in school. You can keep using it. There is no reason why not to use these things, okay? This is actually called an acronym in the case of BANT. In the case of my sentence, it's not an acronym. So, also try to work with what we call collocations. Collocations are words that they like each other so much. They are always together. If not always, most of the time. They are together most of the time. So try to learn them. Remember that yesterday I told you guys to memorize, listen to music, right? Remember these 3 words. It's 3, not 2. It's not listen music, it's listen to music. Listen to the radio. Listen to someone. So this can be considered, this is not exactly a collocation, this is a verb and a preposition. You need to memorize them together. It's one unit. But here I'm going to mention a few collocations for you. Some will be more advanced, but you can learn them and use them, and you will seem and look and sound very knowledgeable. So for example, utter disaster. Utter here means complete. Complete disaster. You can say utter disaster. By the way. But by the way is something that you can totally use in your everyday conversations with people. By the way, okay? At the end of the day, do you know what it means at the end of the day? At the end of the day, it's not literally at the end of the day. It means to sum up, you know, after everything has been said and done. To sum up, at the end of the day, blah, blah, blah. You can also have combinations. For example, you have a verb, encourage someone, and an infinitive. So, encourage someone to go. Encourage someone to study. I am encouraging you to study more. I am encouraging you to use memorization techniques to learn more. You can have, an adjective and a preposition to be dependent on something. This is a bit more advanced. But for example, pay attention. Pay attention. These 2 words, they go together many times. Memorize them together, okay? It's not just pay, it's pay attention. And then of course you can conjugate. Pay is a verb, you can conjugate it in any verb tense you want. Another one that all of you know, fast food. Fast food. That's a collocation. You cannot say what? Fast what? Fast breakfast? Fast lunch? You know, you don't say things like that. You say fast food. And you immediately see in your head what I'm talking about when I say fast food. Make an effort. I have used this many times today in this live stream. So make an effort. Again, 3 words, and if you use them in the sequence to make an effort, this is very useful, a very useful collocation. Memorize the 3 words and use it. Remember, like I said yesterday, use this immediately. Don't wait. Don't wait for an opportunity to use in the future. Use it right now. Be part of a community. Be part of a WhatsApp conversation club. There are lots of conversation clubs in English on WhatsApp, on Skype. Write sentences, write comments. Write comments, okay? Under some posts and videos here on Instagram, on YouTube, anywhere. So another example is powerful engine, bright color, brief chat. A major problem. And instead of saying an important problem, it's a major problem, serious problem. a key issue, and so on and so forth. There are many examples here. I'm going to skip them all, and just for you to have an idea, and just to encourage you to try to do that, to connect the words, okay, one with the other, observe the patterns, and then connect this chunk with the chunks you already have here, because all of you have chunks already in here. And you also have images, you have, you know, lots of information in here already. So try to connect, always make connections. That's my message here for today. So now let's go back and take a look and see if you have any questions, and see if you want to chat, we can chat. Let me just check the time. Yes. So, let's see, if you would like to, if you'd like a brief chat. Okay, Raphael, Josie again. I think this is kind of repeated. Let's move on. Hello everybody. I don't know who's still here. Jennifer, is that like happy adjective and happiness noun? Yes, Jennifer, you can kind of use that too. You're talking about of the family, a word family, okay? You have the root, and then from that root you can build other words that have different functions in a sentence. Like you said here, happy is an adjective. What do you do with an adjective? You characterize a noun, you characterize a thing, a person, a place, right? So a happy place, a happy place, a happy person, a happy cat, a happy dog, right? So you use it together with a noun. When you chunk it, you're connecting happy with a noun. So a happy place. I remember a happy place because when I'm working out and I'm kind of having a hard time lifting weights, the instructor is always saying this to us. Remember your happy place. Go to your happy place. I'm like sweating and lifting weights, and I feel like I want to stop, can't take it anymore. And the instructor says, no, one more repetition, one more rep. Go to your happy place. Imagine here in your head that you are in your happy place. Happy place would be a collocation. And then you have happiness. Happiness is the noun. So how do you use it? When you want to talk about it, right? For example, happiness is important, or it's important to find happiness, right? I don't know if there is a collocation, or you can chunk happiness with another word, but you can chunk happiness with an image in your head. What is happiness? We are now approaching Christmas. This is already Christmas season, right? So you imagine happy people having a meal together. This is the image I have in my head. I don't know if this is the same for everybody, but you have the family, everybody at the table, having a meal, talking, laughing. This could be an image of happiness, and then you can connect the image with the word. Okay, that would help you remember. You just have to add ness, less, ish. Yes. Exactly. These are suffixes and prefixes to change the function of the word. This has to do with chunking. Yes, this is one possibility. There are a million ways you can chunk words, a million. This is one of them. And I think this is so important, Jennifer, because I see people all the time, students, making these mistakes. They know, for example, the adjective, and they use the adjective all the time. It doesn't matter the place the word is, you know. So they use, for example, the word happy to mean happiness, to mean unhappy, to mean happily, to mean many other things. So no, you cannot use just one word with many different functions many times. And I'm not going to say 100% of the time, but in most cases you have prefixes and suffixes. Because of that, you need to make these changes in the word so they can fulfill a different function in the sentence. That's it. Hello, Pereira da Silva. Hello, Elaine. Effort. Yeah, to make an effort. Effort. Only one effort. It's not countable. To make an effort. Fazer esforço, se esforçar. Okay? To make an effort. Okay, let's see what else. Thank you, Josie. Okay, so there are people that want to talk with me. Let's see. Lily, it's nice. I remembered when I was studying biology, the basic animal classifications. Reino, filo, nanana. Reficofage. Yes, yes. It worked. Yeah, and it's amazing because it's been years, it's been decades, and I remember that until today. I studied a lot. I remember that. Where are you from? I'm from Belo Horizonte, Minas Gerais. What about you? Where in the world are you, guys? Write for me here in the comments, okay? Hello, Oceanos Luz. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Hello, Elton. You're here. Elton is amazing. He started speaking. You know, it's been just a few. Oh, so let's see if people still want to talk. I'm going to close this. Hello, Ronaldo. So where are you? Which days that you will make a live? I think I will make a, oh yeah, I will make a live every day, but I have a problem in the next few days. I don't have time in the evening. I will probably do it earlier in the afternoon, around 2 p.m. Brasilia time. Tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. On Thursday, I think it will be later. And remember, everybody, on Friday, there is a conversation session on Zoom. We'll leave a link here in the bio for you. Anyone can participate. You're super welcome. Okay, Josie is always there, and Ed is always there, and they talk a lot. Last time we talked for over an hour, right? And there is also a live class on YouTube. It's a grammar class. So, oh no. At least this week. São José dos Campos, Marcela? Oh, my brother lives there with his family. Yes. I haven't been there yet. I need to go. Ronaldo, from Minas Gerais. Where in Minas Gerais, Ronaldo? Where are you from? Maryland. Lily, you're from Brazil. You're there now. And you'll be there for a while. Yeah, that's great. So nobody else? I think Labor doesn't want to talk now. Okay, these are viewers, right? Would you like to chat? Would you like to talk a little bit? To practice? Because otherwise I'll stop here. And I actually would like to know if you can give me other examples of chunks. There are many questions I want to ask you. And the other question is, what did you learn today? What did you learn today? In English, of course. What did you learn today? I can say that what I learned in Polish, but I'm not sure you're interested in that. But I would like to know, because when you say something related to what you have learned, it becomes even more, you know, there in your head. It becomes even more memorable for you, because we are in a context here, we are talking, we are doing this live stream, and you're saying things that you will remember later. So if you use this time here to talk about what you learned today, for example, chances are you will remember this for a longer time. Varginha? You're from Varginha, Ronaldo. All right. Ronaldo, so tell me, what did you learn today in English? Tell me something you learned today. Josie, tell me something you learned today. Lili, what did you learn today? Marcela, from São José dos Campos, what did you learn today? I think you feel kind of shy. I don't know. That's what I think happens sometimes. You feel a little shy to say from Esmeralda, Ricardo. Very nice. Good. With you. Yes. No. Well, yes. Chunking. I'm talking about chunking. So making connections. Lots of things is too vague. Try to specify, be specific. During the day, yes. Actually, I'm talking about today because it's easier to remember things that happened today. But of course, you can tell me things about things you learned in the past few days, in the past few weeks, right? Ferreira, okay, you're shy. Okay, but let's go past that and tell me one thing. Do you have classes? Do you have English classes, Ferreira? Marcelo? Do you have English classes? How do you study? Do you learn by yourself? Are you self-taught? I learned it today, the word chunking. Good. What does it mean, Lily? So tell me, what does it mean? What does chunking mean? This is a very good word. Nobody wants to talk. Josie, I'm going to call you. Let's see what Josie has to say about what she has learned.
Hello, guys. Teacher.
You're the brave one, right?
My pleasure to talk to you again. And today I learned new things I never hear before chunking. I am surprised with this. But I learned tonight a lot about how can I try to do some connections, like you said about supermarket, you know. And in my mind right now, I am trying to do some connection with my things. How can I do some connection tomorrow? And
Josie, did you read? Because you have to speak English in your job, right? At work.
Yes, I do. But
yes, I do. Learn anything? Go ahead.
Yes, I do, but it's not every day. I have some opportunity to send some emails, read something, but I have opportunity to talk in English one time per week or something like that.
Okay. But did you learn any new word? Oh, actually, did you read any text today? Do you read text in English?
Yes, no? Yes, I do. A text, you mean texto?
Texto, yes. An article, a text, any kind of text. Did you read one today?
Yes, one procedure about waste management.
Waste management?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so tell us about it.
Well, we
this is important.
Yes, the corporate sent to us the new procedure about waste management. How can I use destinations? This, how can I use measuring, monitoring, and have specific technical things? And I am trying to do some association. In Portuguese, it's easy.
It's easy. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, but you never know when you have to say this, talk about this in English, right? You might need to do it in the future, so it's good to know the terms in English, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so too. And tomorrow I will start the class with Newton, your husband.
Oh, that's great. That's great. That's great. That's great. Good to find some time. Josie, is it easy for you to remember things? Do you have, because today I talked about chunking, association, but do you have any strategy, any technique? How do you remember information?
Well, I need to be honest. I repeat myself. For example, when I learn a new word, I need to repeat this with by myself many times.
Do you repeat out loud or just here in your?
out loud.
Out loud.
Yes, and I have one secret for me. I have one notebook, and then I put there, and I highlight what have more como posso dizer?
The sounds, the
pronunciation, the sound, and then I try to specific when I learn some word that I have some difficulty, I repeat this many times by myself, you know.
You know, today I was watching a video. A guy was talking about that, about repetition. It was a live stream, and he was talking about this also. Not specifically about chunking. He was talking about other ways to remember stuff. It was a live stream, and there were people commenting, and people were not just learning languages, but, you know, students, college students, and many of them learning things like physics, maths, and things like that. And there was one of them that was very kind of upset. He said, "Oh, I don't know what I can do to remember the formulas, the things like that. It's very boring. It's very boring, all the repetition. There is a lot of repeated exercise." He was complaining a lot, saying that things were very boring. Repetition was boring. And the guy that was talking said something so interesting, and the other ones agreed with him. He said that repetitions are never the same. When we repeat something, it's never exactly the same. For example, when you repeat a word out loud, it's different. Every time you repeat the word, you know, even if you're pronouncing the word correctly, everything is perfect. It's correct, right? I'm not talking about that. Problems with pronunciation, that's not it. I'm talking about the way you say it, and the situation, the moment. The moment is different. You know, it's like a singer who has a hit song, like in the past, John Lennon singing Imagine. He sang that song a million times. And it's not the same. It's singers, I don't know if they feel it's boring. Can you imagine a singer singing the same song over and over again? I don't think a singer feels that it's boring to sing the same song all the time, because every time is different. And different, when I say different, I mean special. It's special, it's unique, and it's one more opportunity, you know, to make it memorable. To make it memorable. So when you repeat the words many, many times, you're making it memorable, because the moments, the instants, they are unique, they are special. When I say special, I don't mean like, you know, with flowers everywhere and you know, things like that. It's unique. It's unique. This is very interesting. This thing with the memory. I listen to audiobooks a lot. To books, right? But audiobooks, recorded books, and I like to go to walk and to listen to audiobooks. And it's so cool because I remember the scenes of the books and where I was when I was listening to that part of the book, to that part of the story, because of the connection, because, you know, because of the moment. So this is what I meant today, trying to make these moments meaningful. I think the thing is, when you repeat something in a meaningful way, it becomes memorable, and then you remember. But if you repeat something like a robot, you don't care about it. If you don't care about it, it will be harder for you to remember. What do you think? Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree with 100%, because for example, when you are studying math, when you are studying not type discipline. You need to also keep your mind that you need to learn something. But in special language, in my opinion, for example, my mother language is Portuguese. And then when I born, I start learning speak Portuguese. When I see my mom, when I see my father, I listen and repeat. I listen and repeat. In English,
Yeah.
I guess you need to, in special when you don't have opportunity to study English when you are
Child.
child. Yes. When you start studying English when you are like my age or something, oh, don't matter if you will learn it when you have 10 years of 20 or 30, you know. But of course, right now, you need to try to have more discipline, and then you need to study every day. If you do some class, great for you, but 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and try to do some activity that you like you
Yes.
said, listen some music when you
Yeah.
are walking. And then when I arrive in my apartment, I put some music in English, and I try
Uh-huh.
to not translate in my mind in Portuguese,
Uh-huh.
but I try to be more familiar with some song, you know.
Yes. 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 Um, I also think that, for example, in our case, Brazilians, we like people. We like people a lot, and people make our lives more meaningful. So a good tip would be to become part of a community, right? Even if it's virtual, because sometimes it's hard to find a community where you can meet people and speak English. Sometimes it's hard. On the internet, this is easy, problem solved. It's very easy to find people to practice with. And not just to practice, but you can listen and have some motivation to learn. I see this a lot. You know, that there are some people, they like to communicate and to make friends and to interact. And this is good motivation. It makes you want to use the language, right? Because using the language will help you. It's like a prompt to make you use the language, and also, again, the situation will help it become more memorable. I'm saying this because that's how I feel with Polish. I feel that way. This whole year for me was fantastic because of the people I met. You know, it was very motivating, and it was completely different from 4 years ago when I was learning German by myself. I was by myself, completely by myself, and I can study by myself. But when you are surrounded by people who have the same passion, who the same interest, and they are doing different things, they're learning the language, but in different ways. This is very motivating for me, for example.
Yeah.
So yeah, because now, Jos, you are in the group, right? In the WhatsApp group. But do you belong
Yeah.
to other groups online? For example, on Instagram, on YouTube? Do you use these social media sites
Yeah.
to
I start,
practice or not?
yeah, I started using the media with you in the
Uh,
Newton.
uh,
And I try in WhatsApp, I follow just two groups, Melhore Seu Inglês, 1 and 2. But
okay.
yes, Instagram, I try to follow some teachers because I can see some different words because I yesterday I was talking with my boyfriend and he still studying English and he said to me that the difficulty is when you try to speak and you don't find the words. For
You
example,
don't remember the word.
Yeah, you don't remember the word. For example, I would like to talk to you about television, but I don't know how can I say something, and then we block your mind
Yeah. Uh-huh,
because
uh-huh.
you forget the words. And then
Mhm.
I think you need every day take new words and try to memorize these and do some chunking about the
Yes,
context. For
yes.
example, I went another day at the shopping and I tried to imagine it because I don't know all words about Christmas, about
Mm.
the things that happen in America. And then I tried to find some words that I can construction in my mind, some
Mhm.
something about how can some people spend Christmas at America, you know?
Yeah. I think this is a good, well, there are many things you can do there. One of the things you just mentioned is to walk around and try to describe things in your head. This is an excellent exercise. Some people do it while they're driving, while they're walking, like you in a shopping mall. Just at home, you can be at home walking around and describing, because there are so many things in your home around you that, you know, if I ask you to describe right now, you might say, oh, I'm not so sure how to describe all these things, especially details. You can maybe mention some words in a very generic way, like, oh, there is a door, there are walls and a window, you know, and a floor and a ceiling. But if I
Yes.
ask you to talk about maçaneta, for example, right? Or I don't know the word in Portuguese, but the different parts, details, then you will need to learn more. So when you're doing that, you're trying to activate the knowledge you have here to make it, you know, to use it and make it active. This is the output. The input is when you get this information somewhere, right? So you would need to, for example, read a text where you can see these words, or try to find lists of words also. Again, it's important to use the idea of a context. Context helps remember the words better. The guy that I was listening to today, earlier today, was talking about a technique called memory palace. Have you heard about this technique, memory palace?
No, I don't.
Yeah, this technique, it's not so easy. I don't know if it's easy, but it's some people have some problem with it. But the basic idea is to connect a new piece of information with information you have here already. So in the memory palace, palace é palácio. It's a place. It's a place in your imagination. So you imagine like a place you know well. It can be your house, you know, a school, your workplace, and you imagine, you know, the rooms, the offices, all the partitions inside a floor, for example, on the floor, all the partitions there. And then you associate a piece of information with one of these rooms in the floor. Let's talk about a house. In the house, you have room, a bathroom, living room, kitchen, balcony, etc. And some people, for example, they have to memorize a long text, right? So you get the introduction, the idea of the introduction. You connect this idea with, let's say, the entrance of your house, the entrance.
Yes.
And then you get the second paragraph and connect it with, I don't know, it can be the table in your living room, and so on and so forth. So you connect parts of the text with parts of the house. That's what you're doing, right? Some people say that trying to imagine something funny, because fun is a key word here. It's a key concept here. You have to make it fun. or funny. Fun é divertido, funny, engraçado. If you make it funny, it helps you remember it for a longer period of time also. So imagining something crazy, bizarre, nonsense that connects with that part of the speech helps you remember that too. So in the end, you have a crazy story. I think I mentioned that yesterday. If you have a crazy story, but you connect parts of the text with parts of the crazy story, in the end, you remember the whole thing, you know? This is something, I watched a few TED videos. Okay, this is a tip for all of you. Watch TED, and there are some, I mentioned this yesterday, some memorization champions, world or European champions. And that's one of the techniques they use. They are coaches also, so they coach like CEOs, people, important people who need to make a speech and talk to people. They have to remember lots and lots of information, right? Everybody needs to remember. So they help these people remember, and this is one technique. I'm talking about this because I'm trying to put this into use, to use that too. I want to remember more. I want to learn faster, you know, and I believe all of you want to learn English fast too. You need to learn it, and I recommend learning it fast. I recommend using English to learn other things. This is something I have always told the students to do. Not just other languages, use English to learn Spanish, French, Italian, German, Chinese maybe, but also learn other stuff. There are many free online courses, a lot of good stuff online, and you can only have access if you know English well, right? Of course, it doesn't substitute a good book. The guy was saying today that he said that today on the internet, maybe 15% of the information that is on the internet today is good information, relevant information. Like 85% is trash. I don't know. It could be. Because the real good stuff is in books, right? So connecting again with what I said yesterday, Yodi had asked me how to improve your vocabulary. Reading is the very first thing everybody should do. Read a lot, read constantly, right? It helps also remember vocab and use it, right, in context. It's a one way to learn. Yeah. So I really like this, and these days I've been trying to learn more and put these techniques into practice. Memorization, right? I think it can help a lot. I don't know, did I ask you this question? Do you need to memorize things for your job at work? What kinds of things do you need to remember? Or no, you don't need to?
Yes, I do, but in special when I learn something, I need to try to understand. But also when I am on the call with some American people, I need, for example, when I have some non-conformity, and we need to use some methodology or something like that. When I will explain about this, I need to memorize because I am technical in Portuguese. Is very easy for me speaking. But in English is not the same way because sometimes you do some action and then you need to explain for another people that don't speak Portuguese, and how can you do some action, and how can you to improve your system. In special, I guess sometimes I try to study about the action, and also I try to study about some grammar, because is very bad when you have some sensation or when you feel like if you say nós come or something, you know, in English.
Yes, yeah. Because there are two things. The impression on the other person is not good. We look uneducated, right? Uneducated. And also we feel frustrated because you want to say something you cannot because you don't have the tools
Exactly.
to be precise, right?
Yes. And also for me, I am talking with you right now. You speak very clear for me. I am pay attention what you are saying. So it's not hard for me. That's why I can understand all that you said. But when you are on the call, it's different, you know. Is
Yeah.
you like I can't see the eyes, I can't see the mouth, I can't see nothing. The mouth, and also have some noise. And then that's why I try to watch some move, and then I train my hearing, and then each day I be more comfortable. But it's not easy, absolutely, you know, because sometimes you are studying English with some teacher or some school, but when you really need to use the language, you will find the how can I say bloqueio, muro, you know.
It's like a wall, right? There is a
Like a
barrier.
wall, exactly, exactly. But you need to look for some option to you, you know, because you said like for example, many one day time ago, one people said to me that when you block your mind, you need to find like by the way, how can I say, and then you oxygen your mind, you know. Because if
Exactly.
you stop, you're back to your mother language.
Yes. What you're saying is very interesting, Josie, because yes, we speak, teachers speak slower than, you know, what you're going to find in among natives, let's say normal conversation. And we're looking at each other here. This is one level. This is one level. If you move to the US, this is what people say. Oh, I moved to the US and I know nothing. It's not that you know nothing. It's that you changed the level of difficulty. This is
Yeah.
what happened. The level of difficulty changed. It means that, is this a barrier? Yes, it is a barrier. What are you going to do to overcome this barrier? You need to learn more, right? So you need to adjust your ears. You need to develop strategies, like you're saying. You have, I don't know, give yourself some time to think, like using these words, by the way, I mean, you know, blah, blah, blah. This is something that you learn. You are pushing yourself when you do that. You're challenging. It's a challenge. It's not that you know nothing. You know for a certain level. You know. Now the level changed because the challenge is, you know, it's a different kind of challenge now. What you need to do is develop strategies to deal with that new challenge. And if you have an open mind and a positive attitude, you will learn more. What happens is the attitude of some people sometimes. We have a negative attitude. When that happens, we fall back. You know, there is a barrier that's, you know, you can see a barrier in two ways. You can see it as something to help you learn and grow and move on, or you can see a barrier as something that is keeping you, and then you see yourself as a victim. Oh, poor me, you can't, I don't know anything, I forgot everything, I know nothing. No, oh, this is ending, the live is ending now, Joseph. But anyway, this attitude that you have is the best one. Positive attitude is the best one, because this way you will keep learning. right? But I need to say goodbye now. 10 seconds left. Thank you so much, Josie, again.
Thank you so much again. It's my pleasure.